What is up, ladies and gentlemen? YouTube, that's right. I'm Chris Smith, and today I'm going to be talking about Shameless Season 6, Episode 3. Let's get this thing started right here. First and foremost, if you are clicking on this video, don't be a dick and stay to the fucking end, okay? Now we can talk about this like reasonable adults. Okay, so let's get to this thing right here. The basic plot of this episode pretty much about Yanis is getting visited by Kevin and V to see how he is doing after his break pretty much gets cut, and Debbie and Fiona have a conversation about abortions. That's a basic thing pretty much. I don't know why, but that it is. Here it is. Okay, so let's talk about some good things, some bad things, some highlights. Let's hit it. Okay, so the basic thing is Fiona pretty much eventually tells Debbie that she is pregnant, and therefore they kind of decide together, or Fiona pretty much decides that they should have an abortion. And the first thing I heard she said it so casually to the point where I was just like, wow, that's you get an abortion and maybe even on a spa day. I was just like, wow, you can get your nails done and then get an abortion. It could be a real fun girl bonding moment. But her telling to get the abortion because they really can't afford the abortion, and then she eventually kind of tells her that she won't support her financially, mentally, emotionally, whatever it may be. And I was just like, that was a pretty good moment, because Fiona really delivered some great acting right there, Emma Rossum. And I was just like, and that's the whole basis of this episode. I feel like this episode was a very emotional episode. No pun intended if you get what was in this episode. But I thought it was a very emotional episode pretty much, and a lot of people got to show the acting chops, some more than others, but yeah, let's talk about this. I thought Carl was actually one of the standouts also. Carl still continues to actually be one of the highlights of the season, but I actually thought this was actually the better episode, the best episode really, so far this season, because it felt like Shameless really, you know. Also, pretty much what we get to see, Frank. Frank pretty much, I hated Frank so far, and not hated, but I mean, I cannot stand him, though he's wasteful in the past 2 episodes, but I thought in here, he actually brought it back. You know, he actually felt like old Frank, because they didn't focus on the cancer thing. They mentioned it, but they didn't focus on it. Also, the Yanis, and I also for Frank, I thought he was actually on point here. He felt like old Frank. For the Yanis and Kevin and V thing, you know, eventually they realize that he's actually paralyzed. So I like Will Sasso. They realize he's paralyzed, and then he kind of blames the 2 lesbians, but it turns out that they say it's not the lesbians, and then he kind of blames on the Lord, and he's blaming on everybody, whatever it may be. So for me personally, I think Will Sasso's a funny guy, and I enjoy, for the most part, this thing, but I feel like, where is it going? Am I right? Because I feel like it doesn't really have an end point as to where they're putting this storyline. They always give some character one storyline that really means nothing. Debbie continues to be very naive for some reason, and very stupid, because she eventually hears Fiona's pregnant, and she says, we can raise them as sister cousins. And I'm just like, you're stupid. For one, there's a couple of things in this episode which I thought was actually really done. Eventually, Fiona is pregnant, as I said, and then she eventually figures out that she doesn't know who is the father. Is it going to be Gus? Is it going to be, the other guy, Dermot Mahoney, whatever his name is. So she eventually checks down Gus, because, Debbie kind of say she ghosted him, and then there it is, and then she tracks him down, and I was like, okay, Fiona's trying to grow, she's trying to get past this thing. But then that's where a negative comes in, because this guy was a dick, because he wrote a song, because the episode is called The F Word, and he writes a song for her, and at the moment he says, I wrote a song, I knew this shit was going to go bad, and it went bad, and I was just like, the first time I heard the song, I was like, whoa, dude, you're pretty good, that's actually a pretty good song, we're going to get the iTunes, but then I was just like, you're an ass for doing that thing. But yes, Debbie is just foolish and whatnot, and I really enjoyed Ian. Ian pretty much goes with Lip to kind of find a job. He eventually finds a job, and then he's kind of a janitor or whatever it may be. And then, he pretty much is just feeling down on himself. He's starting to feel like the world's looking down on him. He eventually leaves, and then Ian pretty much goes away, because Lip kind of turns him down. They kind of have a fist fight, because he's starting to think that Lip is just thinking he's better than him. And then I thought he was going to jump off the bridge. He eventually goes to a bridge. I thought he was going to jump, but eventually this car wreck kind of happens, and then this lady is actually in a fire. He saves this lady, and then this lady actually is just knocked out. He saves her. The fire department comes, and then he eventually looks like he doesn't know what is happening. Then I was just like, whoa, is Ian, like, does he have amnesia? Because I feel like either he has amnesia, or he was starting to fall for that fire man, or whatever it may be. So I was just like, okay. But yeah, the standout points of this episode. Also, what I really thought was so stupid was the, for a negative, I guess, but it was also fun, where the teachers all bought guns from Carl. I was just like, that's the type of wacky shit Shameless is known for. And it actually worked very well, but it was just dumb. Come on. I thought they were going to set him up, really, Carl. And then Carl also tries to prove that he's black. I was just like, what? But yeah, I thought this was actually a real fun episode. I don't know what Ian's thing is. I feel like he has amnesia, but that just could be me, or he's just completely batshit crazy. But I thought he was also going to jump in. Am I crazy? Am I the only one? But yes, that's my review. Comment, subscribe, and like. Hopefully you weren't an asshole and you actually stayed to the end. But yes, signing out.